Going on, guys? Today here I'm at West Warwick High School here at the park, just filming a little intro. So today we're going to St. Anne's Cemetery, visiting a bunch of the notable graves there. So there's like some business founders, Station Fire nightclub, even there's some 9/11 people, bishops, even Judge Frank Capria's there. Like so many people there, even some sports players. So yeah, just follow along. And I'm sorry I'm recording this late at night, but I just got back from St. Anne's doing about a decent amount, and I just remembered I need to film a little intro real quick so I can get to editing before I finish the rest of them. All right, peace. All right, so here at St. Anne's Cemetery, we're here at the Station Fire Nightclub Memorial, where there's 7 of the members here. So yeah, there's the giant monument right behind me, and let me show you the names that are buried here. So this is the memorial here, as you can see, with the angel statue. So here, John Michael Longier, I don't know how to pronounce that last name, Mark Adam Fontaine, Stephen M. Libria, Edward Van Ian II, Kevin P. Anderson, Lauren M. Lanchian, Pamela Ann Gurituja, I have no idea how to pronounce that last name, but she died a few months after from her injuries in the Station Fire nightclub. Here's the thing. You can see it has all the names of everyone who passed away. They're not all buried here though. Mainly in different spots. Like I know there's one that's in Florida, but Ty Longley, he's right here. This was the guitarist for the Great White. He ran back in to get his guitar and passed away. And this isn't about St. Anne's, but that bench right there, I'll take you closer to it. Bench right here. It's a different cemetery right here. This is, I think, Pequasit Cemetery. That bench is John Edwards, a Civil War Medal of Honor. So yeah, this is Cemetery. Right now I'm walking up to the grave of Stephen Thomas Bloom. He was a Station Fire nightclub victim from where we just came from at the Station Fire Memorial. And Stephen Thomas Bloom, right here. Gonna flip the camera around. This is the grave of Stephen Thomas Bloom. He died September, right here, Stephen T. Bloom, 2003. Come around, rows, but this is where Stephen Thomas Bloom is laid to rest. So now we are at the grave of James Taft. He was a mayor of Cranston. And this one took me forever to find. My mom had to come because I don't have any time to waste, so my mom had to come find it while I did some other ones. So, let me show you. This is the grave of James L. Taft, passed away in 2011. And this is his grave. I was literally just right there. And it's just right there. Mausoleum. Yeah, James Taft. Now I'm walking up to the grave of Frank Scownshaw. And he was the founder of the Wright's Chicken Farm, which is a chicken restaurant up in Boroville, Rhode Island, which is like 10 minutes from where I live. So yeah, Frank Scownshaw. The grave of Frank Scownshaw, the founder of Wright's Farm, I said previously, and his wife Joyce hasn't passed away. I think his daughter passed away in 2018. And I think she was cremated. So yeah, grave of Francis Scownshaw. So here I'm standing in front of the grave of Anthony Solomon. He was a Rhode Island State treasurer. This is his grave of Honorary Anthony J. Solomon, born April 1st, 1932, passed away February 23rd, 2022. Right now, I'm standing in front of the grave of Joseph Solomon. He was the mayor of Warwick. He's all the way up at the top. So there's the grave of Joseph Solomon. Died in 2021. So here I'm standing in front of the grave of Louis Guthrie. He was the founder of National Lumber and Building Materials Company. And he's buried right here. He passed away just earlier this year. This is the grave of Louis Guthrie. As you can see, he's probably buried right there because we're somewhere right here. So this is where they dug up. It looks like it's been recently disturbed. Let's see right here on the back. Louis Guthrie Jr. passed away March 12th, 2025. So right now I'm walking up to the grave of John Pastor. He was a ground governor and senator. And yeah, he's right here, a few spaces away from Frank Caprio. And yeah, if you're looking at this place, it's one of these little openings. Come out, shoot out, John Pastor's right there. Show you his This is the grave of John Pastor, ground governor and senator. See the back. Ground governor, yeah, he was U.S. senator. This is the back. And as you can see through that, around the corner of one of those sections over there, is Christopher Del Sesto. Yeah, we will be visiting him, but yeah. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Angelo Martinelli. He was the founder of Martelli Studios. Here's the grave of Angelo Martelli. He was the founder of Martinelli Studios, like I said previously. And back to the stone, it was Angelo Jr. It's right here, literally in close proximity to John Pastor and Frank Caprio. So right now I'm walking up. So right now I'm standing in front of still unmarked the grave of Frank Caprio. He passed away earlier this year in August. See, it's still right here. There's not a lot of notice that someone was recently buried here, but you can still kind of tell. So when I flip the camera around, I'll show you, and you might know, and I'll tell you a little bit about him when I flip it around. Unmarked gravesite currently of Frank Caprio. You can see, I'm not gonna try to step on it, but you can see like the edges. See, you can probably tell around the edges. Coming back here, you can still tell a little bit. Someone was buried here. Now Caprio, he was a judge at Providence Municipal Court. Who had a show caught on Providence. He was known as the nicest judge in America. So yeah, rest in peace to Frank Caprio. This is his grave. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of David Angel and his wife Lynn, who both passed away on 9/11 and are buried here at St. Anne's Cemetery. David Angel was also a television producer. He produced Cheers, Wings, and Frasier. Yeah, we lift the flat. The back of the stone right here, where it says him and his wife Lynn, who passed away on 9/11, both when they was flown into the North Tower, hijacked by Mohammed Atta. So here at St. Anne's, we have Clara Lamore Walker, and her name is not on the marker yet. I just realized that when just here. I had to message my good friend Kurt Dion to figure out where she was. So, yeah. This is the grave of Clara Lamore Walker. A decent view of it. Clara Lamore Walker, she was a middle school substitute teacher and an Olympic swimmer. So right now, we're at the grave of Thomas Buttmark, and he was the founder of Thornton Electric Company and Thornton Spa. Here's the grave of Thomas Buttmark. So now I'm standing in front of the grave of Kevin Hanley, and he died in action in the Vietnam War. The grave of Kevin Hanley, who passed away in Vietnam during the Vietnam War. As it says on his stone, P. Private First Class Kevin C. United States Marine Corps, killed in action in Vietnam in 1968. So right now I'm on this pathway here to where 5 bishops of Providence are buried. Right here there's 5 flat markers. As you can see one of them right there. And yeah, show you, read the names. Yeah. So right here is Dennis Matthew Clowney, Bishop Matthew Harkins, Bishop Thomas Francis Doran, Bishop William Augustine Hickey. Pick these up. These are Bishop Clint Stoneoff. Same with that. Bishop Robert Edward Mulvey. This is this is the spot where 5 bishops are buried. Some of them that have passed away. So yeah. Now we're coming up to the grave of Daniel Rayleigh. He was a bishop of Worcester. So this is the grave of Daniel Rayleigh. He was a bishop of Worcester, but his name isn't on the marker yet. Coming around, there's 9/11, David Angel. Yeah, right here. It's Rayleigh. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Joseph Altieri. He was the founder of Rhode Island Sand and Gravel Company. So this is the grave of Joseph Altieri, the founder of Rhode Island Sand and Gravel Company. So you can see the back of the stone. Altieri, September 11th, 1998. It's him and his wife. Thing right there. So right now I'm standing in front of a small cemetery, the John Deacon Dyer lot. And I think they just built the cemetery. I think this little cemetery was here and they just built it around. But yeah, it's just a decent lot. So here's the lot that I was talking about. Here's like cemetery sign. It's Historical Cemetery number 87. And here's a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people here. Most of the stones are unreadable. I can't even read these. Some of these over here, I guess you can read, like John Dyer. This other one's like something Dyer. Another one, another something Dyer. Some people over here. None of these people are any special. Sally Smith. Yeah, it's a little cemetery lot. So right now I'm at the grave of Nicholas Carty, who is the founder of Carty's Furniture and Mattresses. If you're in Rhode Island, you'll know what that is. It's a pretty common furniture store. So I cut to his store and I'll show you his grave. So we're here at Carty's here. And just ignore the possible copyrighted music. Yeah, we're here at Carty's here for Nicholas Carty, founder of Carty's, here at that's buried at this cemetery tour that we're doing. It's the only outside location other than St. Anne's here. So let's go to his gravesite. This is the grave of Nicholas Carty, founder of Carty's Furniture and Mattresses. Back of the stone, Nicholas Carty Jr. Yeah, his mom passed away a couple years after him. Yeah, Nicholas Carty. Right now, I'm walking up to the grave of Christopher Del Sesto. This is the second time I'm filming it. I messed up the first time for Christopher Del Sesto. So yeah, flip the camera. So Governor of Rhode Island. Del Sesto right here. You can see Governor, State of Rhode Island. It's got the Governor plaque, Del Sesto. Got his name. Don't think there's anything on the back. Yeah, there's some names. Yeah, Del Sesto, his wife, some other people, some more people. So yeah, Del Sesto, right on the corner, section 34, right on the corner by the garage door. So yeah, Christopher Del Sesto. Next up on the list of people at St. Anne's, he's a few sections away from another big famous person, Joseph Rossi. And he died on the Station Fire nightclub. We've seen a few of them already. This is another one right here. Almond Vanity, Station Fire nightclub, Joseph Rossi. This is the grave of Joseph Rossi, who died in the Station Fire nightclub. A few spaces away from another famous person who we'll get to next, but it's a bigger one. But the next one's probably the biggest one in the cemetery, so. So now I'm standing in front of the grave of Nicholas Colasanto, coach from Cheers, the most famous resident at St. Anne's. So, yeah, most famous resident, coach from Cheers. I remember seeing a thing where it was announcing that he passed away with a new bartender who replaced him, said that, Coach died a few months ago. He wasn't wrong. Real life Nicholas Colasanto passed away. So his grave. The grave of Nicholas Colasanto. Okay, let me clean it off. This is where Coach from Cheers is buried. Here, as you can see, only 3 spaces away from a Station Fire nightclub. Where that flag is. Station Fire nightclub. This is where Nicholas Colasanto, Coach from Cheers. This is where he's buried with his brother. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Alfonso LaFazia, and he was the founder of LaFazia Auto Body in Johnston. This is the grave of Alfonso LaFazia, who founded LaFazia Auto Body in Johnston. He passed away in March 4th, 1968, and was born November 20th, 1885. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Joseph Lombardo, who's the founder of a something Fruitland in Cranston. I honestly forget what the first is called. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, the grave of Joseph Lombardo, who is the founder of some fruit place in Cranston. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Pasco Mascara. He was a local businessman. So there's not really much to talk about. The grave of Pasco Mascara. He was a local businessman, like I said before. Not much I can talk about him. But let me open this thing right here. It's him and his wife. Yeah, Pasco Mascara. I'm standing in front of the grave of John Resfiano, who's the founder of Resfiano Air Conditioning and Heating. The grave of John. This is the grave of John Resfiano. Sorry about that. And he was the founder of Resfiano and Heating and Air Conditioning. Bob, rest easy. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Frank Colasanto. He was the founder of Frank's Corner variety store in Providence. Here's the grave of Frank Colasanto. As you might be saying, Colasanto. Well, it's his Italian last name, and they moved here. And yeah, Frank Colasanto on the back. So now I'm standing in front of the grave of Art Hagen, who was a Major League Baseball player. Played for Buffalo Bisons. This is the grave of Art Hagen, baseball player. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Ralph Warburton, who was on the U.S. Hockey Olympic team. This is the grave of Ralph Warburton, a member of the U.S. Hockey Olympic team, I think in 1948. His name is not on the back of the stone yet. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of John Fogerty. He was a congressman. I forget when he was congressman, but yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, and yeah, Honorable John Fogerty. Should I say his grave? The grave of John Fogerty. He was congressman, and it says right here that someone here served in World War II. So yeah, grave of John Fogerty. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of John Jr. Egan, or Rip, or also known as Rip Egan, and he was a baseball player. So I'll show you his grave. This is the grave of Rip Egan. He was a baseball player. Well, John Egan as well. They're both basically the same. They're the same person. Yeah, his nickname was Rip. His name is John. But yeah, this is his grave. A few spaces away from John Fogerty. I think he's right over there. Yeah, right where that flag is. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Tom Levitt. He was a Major League Baseball player in the 1800s to the 1900s. And he has one side of the gravestone. Yeah, his gravestone's pretty cool, but yeah, I'll show you. So this is Tom Levitt's grave. The other side has O'Reilly on it. It's a different family buried on that side versus the Levitts who are on this side. So yeah, they share a marker. So right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Dave Steinhaus, and he was a Major League Baseball player who passed away in 2023. Right here. Let me show you his grave. This is the grave of Dave Steinhaus. Yeah, Major League Baseball player. It still looks like the stone was placed yesterday. Yeah. David R. Steinhaus. That's his full name. Alright, so I'm standing in front of the grave of Michael Capezza. He was a business founder. I forget what business he founded, but he founded something. So here's where Michael Kepsa is buried. This is where his grave is, right here, gravestone. And on the back, where his parents' their names are. His name hasn't been engraved yet. Standing in front of Rhode Island Governor Ed DePrete, and that cross is actually on top of his stone. So, yeah, he passed away, July 8th. So the only reason I have to redo his grave is because his name is on the back now. So, all right, the grave of Ed DePrete, whose name is currently on the back, which I'm wondering why there's a dent here, but it probably is there for a reason. And it looks like this is new. So, yeah, I'm not gonna ask too many questions, but his name is currently on the back of the stone. His wife's name. It was recently added. In the last month it was added. His cross is on top of his grave. Different color, but it is on top. So yeah, Ed DePrete. Now I'm standing in front of John Regine, the grave of him, and he's Regine Printing Company. As you can see that box there, I'll show you in a little bit. But yeah, Regine Printing Company. John Regine of Regine Printing Company. And he passed away in 2025. And right here is a box of Regine Printing. Some name and stuff. Yeah, this is a box of Regine Printing. And here is John Regine, the back of the stone. He passed away in 2025. So yeah, Regine Printing Company, John Regine. Now I'm standing in front of the grave of Michael Izzo. He was a founder of B&M Jewelry in Providence. Yeah, he's buried here at St. Anne's. Yeah, I'll show you his grave. Grave of Michael Izzo. Passed away in 2021 with his parents here as well. His parents' photo of his parents. So, yeah, Michael Izzo, B&M Jewelry. Now I'm walking up to the grave of James Gooden, and he kind of has the same Stephen Thomas Bloom situation, where he is not in, his name is on the marker, but it's like not his family's plot, it's like his wife's family. Yeah, James Gooden here at the Declare plot. I'll show you his grave of James Gooden. So he kind of has the same situation as Stephen Thomas Bloom's, both Station Fire nightclub, buried with their wife's family or someone like that. Declare. Yeah. And there, and here's the back, James Gooden down there. And June 6, 1965, February 20th, 2003. Sorry about that. Still, James Gooden, right here, section 51. So right now I'm at the grave of an Alfred Crisciamone here at St. Anne's. Here he was another Station Fire nightclub member. We've seen a lot of those today. Sorry about that stupid sun. Try to get that behind me. Alright, so yeah, here he is. So I'll show you his grave. Alfred Crisciamone here at St. Anne's. In the Station Fire nightclub, as I said. It's right behind. It says, "My son, my heart," his mother, his grandmother, and his uncle. So this grave was basically made for Alfred Crisciamone. And that's one. So, yeah. I'm standing in front of the grave of Michael Colts. He was the Station Fire nightclub. He died in the Station Fire nightclub here. It's in section 51. And I'm going to tell you the interesting story on how I found his grave when I flipped the camera. So here is the grave of Michael Colts. So how I found it was because his grave, there was no photo. I couldn't find one. So I had to go. So I looked at his plot number. I saw section 51, 304. So we looked around the section for 30 something. So this one, Murphy, 303. This one, Albanese, 306. So we have to say, this is 305. This is 304. So this one has to be Station Fire nightclub, Michael Colts. Right now I'm standing in front of the grave of Keith Mancini. He was a rock musician who also passed away in the Station Fire nightclub disaster. He was in the opening. He was in the band opening up for Great White. Station Fire nightclub. Sorry about that. grave of Keith Mancini. He, yeah, like I previously said, Station Fire nightclub victim, rock musician. Yeah, passed away. Station Fire nightclub. That guitar. Yeah, Keith Mancini. Now I'm standing in front of the grave of Thomas Needham. He was a judge, and he was also on the it was associate justice on the Superior Court of Rhode Island. He was also a war vet. So yeah, I'll show you his grave. Grave of Thomas Needham. Yeah, like I said before, U.S. Army, World War II, passed away March 26, 2000, and born in 1922. Sorry about that. Just cleaning up his grave. So yeah, it's the grave of Thomas Needham. So right now, I'm walking up to the grave of Walter Reynolds, who is the mayor of Providence. Give it behind me. I'll flip it around and show you. The sun's glowing in my face right now. But yeah, here's the grave of Honorary Walter Reynolds, who was mayor of Providence from 1950 to 1954. Walter Reynolds was born in 1901 and passed away in 1987. Yeah, there's also other Reynolds buried there. But yeah, Walter is the only notable Reynolds that's buried here. So yeah, Walter Reynolds. So right now I'm walking up to the grave of Joseph O'Brien, who I think was the first pastor at St. Anne's Church here. And he was. And he was in the military. So yeah, I flip the camera, show you his grave. Here is the grave of Joseph O'Brien. Here, he was the pastor at the St. Anne's Church here, which is right there. Yeah, this is Joseph O'Brien's gravesite. See the back corner. So yeah, it's up and on the other side. All right. Fourth to last grave here at St. Anne's that we will be seeing is Patrick Taney, who was a Civil War veteran. It stands here in Section A, right in front of the church here at St. Anne's. So yeah, St. Anne's Cemetery, Patrick Taney. Here is the grave of Patrick Taney here. And I don't know, but I think he has a smaller stone somewhere. If I can find it, like a smaller one, I think it got destroyed. That's why they put this new one up. If I can find that, I will put it into the video. I'll try my best to find it. If not, I'll put a thing of it I'll put a thing at the grave saying I couldn't find it because it was removed, or I just couldn't find it. All right. So the grave of Pat Taney, his old marker that was destroyed, it was removed. So yeah, just so you know. So now I'm standing in front of the third to last grave today. James Cooney, who was a shortstop for the Chicago Colts. I'll show you his nice grave of James Cooney. Passed away in 1903. His name isn't on the marker, which I think is very strange. Only one Cooney, but he is buried right here. Exact spot. So yeah. Alright, so we're here at the grave of the second to last person here on this tour, Johnny Gagnon, here in Section K. So yeah, the sun is in my eyes that way. Hey, yeah, Johnny Gagnon. I'll turn the camera around, show you his gravesite. Here is the gravesite of Johnny Gagnon, the final one in the St. Anne's Cemetery. No, the second to last one. The final one is coming away. Yeah, Johnny Gagnon, hockey player. Right here. We're now at the final grave of this tour, Mr. Buddy Cianci. I wanted to go out with probably one of the most notable people here. I think it's the fourth. One of the most notable people, Buddy Cianci here. So, flip the camera around and show you his grave. Here's the grave of Buddy Cianci. He was a mayor of Providence like Walter Reynolds, but he had a nickname. And he's also famous on Find a Grave. That's why he was a mayor of Providence from 1975 to 1984 and 1991 to 2003. Passed away in 2016. And was born in 1941. Buddy Cianci, he was a junior. Yeah. All right, for the cemetery tour here at St. Anne's. So, thanks for watching the video. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.